Hello, and welcome to Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy. I am Sean.
And I'm Tracy.
And we are talking to you all that are 50 and fabulous.
And don't forget handsome.
And we want you to know that we want to get some education happening, some empowerment.
We want to grow with you. We want to learn with you. We want to see what you're doing, 50 and over.
So like, share, comment, follow, subscribe,
grab your
tea.
What's your sisterhood? I think she even asked me that. I said, these are people. These are my friends that I grew up with, not blood related, but they are blood related, that I grew up with, that no matter what, I can call them. These are my friends that I do stuff with at a drop of dime. If one of us needs each other, we're there. And we don't have to talk, text each and every day. And I just know who I can pick up the phone and call. So I'm getting back to Tracy slowly but surely and leaving my options open to what may come. You know, I think I could have been closed off a lot of the time and didn't let a lot of things in for whatever reason. My focus was different, but this, like you said, the second half of my life, this better half of me.
The better half. I love that. The better half of you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. This is Sean Johnson from Back to Earth with New Path Wellness Group. I am so excited about this conversation because, we are women over 50 and we're fabulous, right? And a lot of women over 50 don't feel like that they're fabulous. So I want to have this conversation with one of my sister girlfriends. We've been friends for since we were little kids, and we are over 50 and we are fabulous. And so I want to bring her on to talk about how fabulous she is and how we got to this point, right? And it's not about being full of yourself or anything like that. It's just basically about having an uplifting, encouraging conversation for those women out there that are dealing with being the age of 50. For me, I couldn't wait to turn 50 because that was going to be another leap, another fate, another, I don't know what you want to call it, another time, another time in your life. And when I turned 50, it was like, the word no is a complete sentence, period. Period. And so I want to bring my girlfriend on so we can have this casual conversation about being 50 and fabulous. Hey, Tracy.
Hello,
up,
my sister.
Girlfriend? What's up?
We are. That's what's up. Sean and Tracy.
Yes.
So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We've been trying to do this for a minute now. So, trying to figure out if I want to just do, these 50 and fabulous conversations. You know what I mean? For us that are out there, right? Because there's so many of us that are just not feeling fabulous. So I want, and it doesn't mean that we're so fabulous that we don't have issues. So I want to talk about all of those things today.
Definitely.
So tell us a little bit about you said. Go ahead.
Well, I'm a mother of 2 grown men, a grandmother of 8. So that in a nutshell is a lot. And one thing I just heard you say about us being 50 and fabulous, it's not about me thinking or the next woman thinking I look better, cuter than the next one. It's about me. It's about my time. And it's one thing that I say, you said you couldn't wait to turn 50. I don't think I was excited about turning 50 because I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm getting old. Because I remember when I was young,
right?
And my aunt turned 30. I thought my aunt was old at 30. Little did I know,
right?
I feel good. I changed my view on that. Is what I wanted to say too. You don't know what you're up against, and we have this perception that we shouldn't. Right. So I'm there with you now. I am happy, and I'm over 50, well over 50 now. A young lady said that to me the other day. She said, "How old are you?" I said, "Way over 50." She said, I said, "Yeah." So that makes you feel good too.
Yes,
it makes you feel good.
Yes,
So
absolutely,
here we
absolutely.
are. Here
Yes,
we
who
are.
we are, right? So I want to talk to you about, I know you love the gym, right? And
Yes,
taking care of
yes.
ourselves is, is what I preach, what I try to practice, and all of that, right? So tell us, when did you start loving the gym? Like loving, movement, and things like that. When did you start? What made you know that you needed to start doing some type of movement?
Honestly, I've always been into the gym. What I always have not done is been consistent.
Okay.
I've always tried to eat right. I've always have not been consistent. I'm one of those persons, you tell me about the cabbage diet or the grapefruit diet. I'm gonna try it for a time and then I'm not.
Okay.
What turned my life around, I think, is because I just wasn't happy. Um, you're gonna hear people say that they're happy in their skin. Everything ain't for everybody. I wasn't happy when I tried on my clothes. I wasn't happy when I looked in the mirror, you know. So I knew I had to make a change. When I joined the gym, like I said, and I've done that journey for several years, and I love it now. And what I say to people, family members and friends, I'm going to my happy place, and they
Ah,
automatically know what I mean.
wow.
Because honestly, that's what the gym is for me. I put my earpods in, get my music going, and do, even if I just go in there and walk on a treadmill, do the stairmaster. If I go in there for 30 minutes versus an hour and 30 minutes, that is my happy place right now. Um, One thing I emphasize is it's not all about that number on a scale. It's how I feel at the end of the day. And that's why I say people are happy in their skin. It's not about, oh, she's going to the gym because she's trying to look like or trying to get down to this size. I don't look like your typical size, whatever. I got little, areas that I need to work on, but I'm not worried about it anymore because I enjoy what I'm doing. I do. I do. I say it again, the gym is my happy place. And
Wow.
my gym that I go to, I feel like we are family when I walk in there. It's a connection from when I first walk in that door, the young lady sitting at the desk, the trainers, the regulars that you see in there, and that's men and women, you know. Um, so my journey
Wow.
has I've been on this journey for a minute, and my goal is to stay there. It's
Nice.
to stay there because it's true. It's a way of life. Working out and eating right, it's a way of life at this point.
Mm,
So
nice.
you
Nice.
gotta want to do it. You gotta want to do it.
You do. You really do. Wow. That's
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome because the key point that I'm getting from you is that it's your happy place. And
Hmm.
so once you found that happy place, that's where you became more consistent. Am I
Right.
correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's when you
And
become
it's not easy. It's not
right.
an easy journey, and I'm not gonna tell anybody that it is. I went to the gym last night, and it was just me and the trainer, and I'm like in my head, I don't want to be here.
Mm,
I don't want to do this, you know.
mm-hmm.
But he kept pushing me. Let's go, Tracy. You got this, Tracy. And about time, when my 30, 45 minutes was over, I was happy that I
You,
stayed and happy
yeah.
that I did it, you
Now
know.
that's a
So,
testament right there. It's
yes,
like pushing through even when you don't want to.
yes, definitely,
Pushing through even
definitely.
if you don't want to. Okay, so you got to your happy place. And when you feel that, when you get into that rut of other things in life, right? Um,
Hmm.
let's say relationships and things like that. Where do you find a happy place within relationships? Now, I know your status, but are you married, single, dating? What is it? And if you're none of that, what do you prefer or what would you like?
Honestly, as you know, I'm a widow, so have been for 9 years come November. Um, I don't know if I put relationships at the forefront. I've always put family at the forefront. I put family and my work. And before you know it, here I am. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
You get married and you're thinking it's for a lifetime, regardless of what may be going on in your life. You just
mm-hmm,
do. So when I lost my husband, relationships were the furthest thing from my mind. And it wasn't that it was the first thing from my mind. I was saying, I don't want one. I don't want one. I didn't allow myself to get one. I indulged even more into family, be it the grandchildren, be it nieces and nephews and cousins, be it everything else but Tracy, is what I'm trying to say. Be it work, you know, being at a job for as many years as I've been at my job, you feel like you've given so much of you, you get lost. So when it comes to relationships, I'm not opposed to it, but honestly, sad enough, I will say I don't do anything to welcome it either, if that makes sense. I expose myself to stuff and try to go out with, you know, we do little different stuff. And it's not on a dating scene that we're doing different stuff, but I'm not opposed to it. But I don't think I put myself out there, and I don't even know what out there means. I think people think I have a wall up. I think people think I have a wall up. Well, I really don't, but how would you know if you don't tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, my name is, or hi, how are you doing? You know what I mean? So I'm not opposed to it, but I haven't been, I don't think I've been very open as far as searching for a relationship either. So in a nutshell, I'm single.
Okay.
And it's okay.
And it is okay. Yes, because you're single and you're not miserable. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so, you know, that makes a difference. That makes a difference. So if someone were to approach you, like you said, you're not putting yourself out there and things like that, but you're not close to it either. What are some of the things that you are looking for and in a man, and just, you know, with dating, I'm not saying relationship per se, with just like companionship, you know, and things like that. I am married, you know, so I was single at one point. Yes. So as a person that's single, what is it that you may be okay with, or, you know, what would be a happy place with that?
I mean, it's gonna sound so cliche, but you want somebody that's gonna be honest. And I say honest because I don't know you and you don't know me beyond our introductions. So if you think it's too much for you to say to me, I just recently got out of a relationship, be it a girlfriend or a marriage. I'm not looking for a relationship, but I'm looking for somebody to spend some time with sometime. Or I just want to have an open relationship to where I'm still dating and try to figure me out. I just need somebody to be honest. Don't, you know, I'm not looking for, if it comes, a millionaire, fine. Am I looking for that? No. I'm looking for somebody who's know who he is and how he wants to spend his life. And you know what? I won't even say life, because that may be a little bit much, but just how he wants to get to know me as a person. You know, I'm not big, I'm not flashy. I don't have to have the latest name brands. I don't have to have, like I said, you don't have to have the biggest bank account. But you do have to have goals. You got to be reaching for something, you know. I'm a simple girl, you know, call me up and say, hey, put on your sneakers, let's go for a walk. Hey, I'm coming to pick you up, let's go get something to eat. I don't want for much when it comes to a relationship, and I'm willing to go 50-50 too. You know what I'm saying? Some people will look at that and say, no, you shouldn't go 50-50. He should go. I think it's all up to you and him. It's not up to you and nobody else. So I'm just really looking for somebody who knows what he wants to spend some time, enjoy life, and just take it day by day. I ain't looking for nobody to say that they want to marry me. I'm not looking for somebody that wants to come over and stay the night 7 days a week. I'm not. You know, we got to get to know each other. We got to take baby steps at the end of the day. And I think honesty is the most. Honesty, you got to be honesty, and you have to communicate. When you lose those two things, what are we doing? What's the point?
What is the point?
So,
what is the point?
You know,
I call it you can court. You know, like back in the day when men would court you, you know, and or boys or whatever you want to call it, right? They will court you, and courting just meant, hey, just spending some time getting to know each other, and that's it.
That's real simple.
And lying is just, it doesn't make sense to not be honest. It really doesn't. I mean, it just drives me nuts. It's like, be honest. We are grown people. We are not teenagers.
Exactly.
We are grown people, you know. And as a grown person, if someone came to you and said, I just got out of a relationship, this, that, and other, like you said at the beginning, then it gives you the choice of whether you want
exactly.
to, if you want to go get to know that person even further or
exactly.
whatever, that's what that
Exactly.
is. And if you are a person that says, you know what, listen, I'm just looking for a partner to hit it and quit it when I feel like it.
Whatever. Yeah, we grown.
You're grown, right?
Yes.
You're grown.
Yes.
It can still be something that you both agree on. But honesty is there. You know what I mean?
Honesty,
yeah. That it just drives me bonkers when I listen to people or even friends or my brothers or what I mean, men that just say the most craziest stuff, and it's like, just be honest. We are too old.
That's it.
For the crazy.
That's it.
Way too old for the crazy.
I say it's too hard to remember a lie though. Because when you lie to me, remember, you have to remember that lie.
Yeah.
And don't get mad at me when I call you on it. Well, wait a minute, you just said, and it's not that you're keeping tabs on me. No, I'm not. You just told me this, and now today you tell me something else. Right. So to me, I always say it's easier to remember the truth. It's hard to remember a lie. You got to keep the story going.
I love that.
You got to keep the story going.
To remember the truth, it's hard to remember a lie or to keep a lie.
It's hard because you don't know what you're lying, so you just made that story up.
Right.
So you don't know what you told me. You know.
Right.
And sometimes, when I say that, we got to pick our battles. Depending on the situation and the relationship you're in, you got to pick your battles. Keep your eyes open because you don't want to pounce on him. When he tells you that first little lie, you got to say, well, wait a minute. Let me just pay attention and see. But nobody wants to be dealing with a liar.
Right. Awesome. All right. So that was relationships. Now let's talk about you. What else do you do for you? So girlfriends, relationships and things like that, because it's not just about a romantic relationship. It's like other relationships. How are your relationships as you get older? Are they the same? Do they evolve? Have they evolved? Are there people in your life that you had to just back away from, because you're on one journey, they may be on another. Your journey of taking care of you, what does that look like? What are you doing different that excites you? You know what I mean? Or what are your aspirations for later for this other half in your life?
One thing you said, is there anybody that I had to cut off or, I feed people with long spoons, and I tell you, it took me a long time to get here because something you said earlier, no is a full sentence, and it took me a long time. As you know, a lot more about me than we're doing in this interview. I don't know how to say no because I became a people pleaser. Honestly, I don't think it was until I lost Timothy that I figured I don't have to be a people pleaser anymore. He was here. He was helping me do a lot of stuff. If somebody called and they needed something and I just couldn't get to it, I would call on him to do it. As a life's journey, as we've gone through these last few years, we've lost a lot of family, a lot of friends, and the focus had to come back to me because if it didn't, and this is going somewhere else, I think mentally I would have been broken. We've had plenty of conversations. We had plenty of phone calls to where our conversations. Without my sisterhood, without me leaning on my friends, which is hard for me because you guys get on me. If you give me a compliment, I'm like, I got something negative to say, not to you, but about me, and you guys had to literally look at me and say, stop doing that. You take it, say thank you and move on. You don't have to say, but this or but that. It took me a long time to get here. And that's a sad thing. That's something I try to tell my nieces, my nephews, my children. It's about you. Don't let life pass you by and you realize, what did I do for myself? I work hard. I take care of my home. I own my stuff, my house, my car. I pay my bills. Now that second part of me wants somebody to have that with. I have my sisterhood and I know no matter what, I could call on my friends. My friends, my sisters are longevity sisters. I heard somebody say, there's no old relationships. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? This relationship that you built years ago, people don't have them now. And I told them, well, I'll introduce you to some people and show you that's not true. That I've been friends with, that come from different walks of life that we've been friends with. We grew up in the same neighborhood. We're all in different journeys in our lives. You're married, other girlfriends are married, children. My like I said, I got several grandchildren. You guys only have a few. You understand? But
Yes.
we've never lost that relationship, you
Right.
know. So you need to have that. You need to have that sisterhood. It's so funny because we did a little thing at work, and that was one of the things. I put a picture of up of the girls, and I said, "This is my sisterhood." And my boss called me afterward and told me, like, that was so awesome that you have a sisterhood. So I don't. If you don't have it, you don't know what it means.
Right.
What's your sisterhood? I think she even asked me that. I said, "These are people. These are my friends that I grew up with, not blood related, but they are blood related, that I grew up with, that no matter what, I can call them. These are my friends that I do stuff with at a drop of dime. If one of us needs each other, we're there. And we don't have to talk, text each and every day. And I just know who I can pick up the phone and call." So I'm getting back to Tracy slowly but surely, and leaving my options open to what may come. You know, I think I could have been closed off a lot of the time and didn't let a lot of things in for whatever reason.
Right.
My focus was different, but this, like you said, the second half of my life, this better half of me
The
is
better
about me.
half. I love that. The better half of you. Absolutely.
Yes.
I love that. Oh, that could be an episode. That could be the name of this episode. We can do that. The better half of you. What is your better half of you? 50 and up. The better half of you. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Awesome. You know I'm writing it down, right? So okay, so when your boss called you about that, and she was curious about it because she didn't know what that meant, or is it something that she used to have and doesn't have it now, or is it just something that she was just curious about? It's like, how did it happen?
I think she questioned what did I mean by my sisterhood. So
Okay.
I explained it to her. These are, and I don't use that word lightly, because everybody's not a part of our circle. And I don't mean it in a negative. When I say that, I do not mean it in a negative. But you just have those people in your life that are just that. They're your sisters, no matter what. Our family knows each other. We grew up with each other. We do things with each other. And another thing that I love about our sisterhood too, um, there's no competition. There's no, look at Sean. She dyed her hair black because I did. Look at Sean. I had an OG. There's none of that. And maybe that comes with maturity too, because I can look at a woman right now and give her a compliment and know, she's not thinking I like her, or that,
Right.
oh, is she trying to be funny?
Right.
So that's what I love about where I'm at in my life too. The place that I'm at in my life, that I can be mature enough, not just with my girlfriends. I could laugh, I could cry, I could be who I am. We could talk about anything at the end of the day. And I think that I've come across women that I haven't grown up with, that I may have recently just been introduced to. You. I told you how one time, a couple of weeks ago, I was at a party and the lady made a comment to me just out of the clear blue sky. It kind of shocked me, but it made me feel good that she didn't know me from a hole in the wall, but just made a compliment of how I looked and how nice everything was. And and I'm thinking, wow, like that is so nice. You know what I mean? She don't know me from a hole in the wall. Just to tap me on the shoulder and just say, hey sis, you really look good tonight. Really made me feel good. And it just brings something into you when stuff like that happens.
Right.
But you have to remember, I should always, you should do the same thing. When you see somebody, it's okay to give him or her a compliment. It doesn't mean, you're looking for anything or trying to get anything. Sometimes it's good to make people feel good.
Right, exactly. It's good to make people feel good. You're making a couple of like little things. It's good. It's good to make people feel good.
It is, because we want it. We want it. So,
and what's funny, when you said, going back to giving people compliments and things like that, and no competition, whatever. We grew up that way. You know what I'm saying? We always encouraged each other in whatever endeavors that we had. Now, one of my other girlfriends said to me, was talking. Matter of fact, this is with Linda and Kelly, and we were talking about networks, right? Your network is not necessarily your sister circle or your sisterhood, right? And so, you have a network of people over here and a network of a group of people over here, but you don't merge the two, right? You don't merge the two. And some people are like that with their girlfriends. They have girlfriends over here and they have one girlfriend they know they can't merge with this set of girlfriends over there. Right? Doesn't mean that it is no malice and involved anything like that. It's just personality wise who meshes with who. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Personality wise, or say for instance, someone may be going to the bar, and they go into the bar to turn up. They want to turn up. I mean, people do, right? I'm not going to be invited to that because they know I don't drink. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to feel offended about it.
I get it. Yes.
And so when we think about that, because people still do that, because sometimes you think about, listen, we are too old for this or too old for that. But then when I watch people sometimes, it's not about being too old. It's about them being who they are, whatever that means, right? With we have no judgment.
No judgment.
Right?
Yep.
No judgment. It's all encouraging. We don't let anybody talk down about themselves and things like that. It's all about encouraging. And that's another reason why I want to have this conversation, because I am meeting women that don't have what we have. I'm meeting women that don't have a sisterhood. They may have one or two friends that they're still friends with from childhood, but that what's the word? I don't know what you want to call it. That camaraderie with other women, that, or insecurities, being around other women, the insecurities that they can feel. If someone looks a certain way and you think that they are this or that, then you might feel a little intimidated walking in the room, where having this conversation will let you know it's not about being intimidated. Just walk in the room for who you are. And that room is either going to notice you or they don't, but regardless, you're walking in as Tracy, you're walking in as yourself. As yourself.
You're being yourself.
Exactly. And so with that, you'll know that the energy that you give is the energy that you're going to get.
Exactly. And that's what we have to remember too, because sometimes we go into stuff, you go to something and say, oh, I really don't want to do this. I just don't want to do it. And guess what? You end up doing it and you have the best time of your life.
You have the best time of your life. Yep.
So you're right. Go in there with a positive attitude and just take it for what it's worth. And if it's not working out, you know what you can do? Remove yourself.
You remove yourself. Period.
I'm not forced to stay. You just remove yourself.
Yeah.
So I laugh when you said about the different set of friends or family. There's people that we don't, you're going to do business with, you're going to hang out with. You're not going to ask some of those people you're hanging out with to do business, or vice versa. I think everybody has those group of friends or family. And it's not that I love you anymore or any less. I just know who to bring around who.
Exactly.
And I'm saying this, I'm sure the same with, people done it with me. Yeah. And even what you said about people saying about you're too old to do this. Yeah. I think that's such an old statement. We grew up with, you shouldn't wear this or you shouldn't look like this. And if you're this age, I heard it. You're a grandma. And I said, what does that mean?
Right. If anything, thank you. Look, thank you for just saying I look fabulous. That's the way I would take it.
You know what I say? And this is no offense to our grandmothers and great grandmothers that helped raise us and do for us. I say I'm not my grandmother.
Right.
I'm not doing the same things that she used to do. I'm here for my grandchildren. Don't get me wrong. But when I want to do Tracy, the word is no, like you just said. And it took me a long time to get there and feel comfortable doing that. Because you always want to please. And you can't, I got to take care of me right now. I got to take care of me. So,
that's awesome.
We got a lot going on. As women, we have a lot going on. And, we have to take care of us.
Going back to being the better half of you.
I
like it. I like it.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay, so there's let's keep talking. You mentioned about mental health. Let's talk about that and how that affects us as Black women.
I walk around saying now too, mental health is real. And the reason I say that is because growing up in the Black community, we didn't do counseling. And if you did, nobody knew you were going to counseling because Black people don't need counselors. That's such a lie. We all need someone to talk to, someone to sit down and discuss our issues with, and there's nothing wrong with it. When you feel yourself overwhelmed, you feel yourself having anxiety, I could call up my sisterhood. I can, and I know that they're there for me. But there are times where I have to go outside of that, where I need someone who just don't know me, who I'm going to explain my journey, my life, how I grew up, my teenage years, my grown-up years. You know what I'm saying? My journey, being a single mom, raising 2 young Black men in this world. So mental health is real. And I think over these last few years, and I'm not going to blame it on COVID, I think a lot of things are pushed down. Like I said, for myself, I'll speak for myself. I think a lot of things I've learned to deal with until they were taken care of, or the situation was handled one way or another, whether I made it through it or figured it out, or if it was taken off my plate, by someone else. I'm at the point where enough is enough now. I don't want to hide that, like I said. And that's why I say when stuff happens and people say, oh, nothing's wrong with them, they're not mentally ill, or a good thing I say. When I say I'm overwhelmed, when I say I'm tired, I get, you could do it, you so strong. That kills me. Because honestly, I'm really reaching out. I'm asking for help. And for you to tell me, what you're telling me is keep going, you got this. Well, that's what I've been doing for years. I'm tired at this point.
Right.
I just need a little bit of help. I just need somebody to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, Tracy, how you doing today? Instead of calling me saying, hey, Tracy, what can you do for me today?
Say that one more time. Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
I think we totally do forget that. We got to stop leaning on people. Don't call me to say what I lost it.
But you said you want somebody to tap you on the shoulder and ask Tracy, how are you doing today? Instead of what can you do for me today?
Exactly. And that's what people do. And I think too, I will not just blame it on people. I'll blame it on myself because I put that persona out there that I am Wonder Woman. And I'll tell you this, when Timothy passed away, when my husband passed away, I always told my oldest 2 grandkids, always told them, Grandma could do anything. You just ask and Grandma's gonna get it done. I told him this for years. Do you know my oldest granddaughter looked at me when her pop passed away? I'll never forget it. She said, you could do anything. I said, yeah, what do you need me to do? She said, could you bring my pop back to life?
Oh,
I knew then.
That you couldn't.
I had to stop saying that. Yes.
Wow.
I am not Superwoman.
That
was such a reality check. That was such a reality check that it just stabbed me in my heart. Wow. And I said, there you go. But that's why I say people tap me on the shoulder and say, can you do? Instead of asking me how I'm doing, because that's what I put out there. And when she said that to me, when my oldest granddaughter said that to me, I knew then, stop acting like you got it all under control and you could do all, because you can't.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yep.
That is powerful.
And that goes to show you too. Kids listen to what we say.
She sure really believes
that
you could.
I can do.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we got to be careful of our words. Our words are very powerful.
Yeah. Wow.
They are.
Now that right there, yes. You had to really, you had to think about that. You have to think about that, because yeah. And kids will do it to you each time.
Yeah.
They'll snap you
Honestly,
back.
I don't think I've ever said those words again, that Grandma could do anything. Just ask. Grandma could do anything in the world. I used to always say it to him. And when she said that, that my reality was, be careful of what you say.
Absolutely. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you tell yourself. All of that. Wow. That right there that had to make me stop for a second and think about,
Yeah.
that
Now
is so
imagine a
powerful.
little one, yeah, her standing in my face saying that to me. That was,
Right.
you know, but that was the reality that I needed. And that's why I say I don't blame everybody. I don't, not everybody, because everybody doesn't follow me. I don't blame people because I think that's what I put out
That's what
there.
you put out
I
there.
got it. I
And
can do it.
right. And that is a powerful statement also, because we don't know, or we're oblivious sometime of what we put out there. We're oblivious
Yes.
to what we, how we're portrayed, not how we're portrayed, how we participate in how we're portrayed. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And like you said,
Exactly.
because you said what you said to your grandkids all the time, and then for you to be called out, basically, it's like, okay, I want to see this happen now.
Exactly.
You
You said you could do
you
it.
said you
Do
could
it.
do it. So if you can do it, I want you to
Mhm.
bring him back. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
And we don't know, because sometimes the same thing. One day I had to say, and this is because my daughter tells me all the time that I hold things in, right? I bottle it up, and then when the pressure's too high, the top flies off, right? And so when she said it to me, I said, okay, all right. So I had to think about it. And then one day my husband said something to me, and I said, he said, are you all right? I said, no. And he didn't know what to do. He was like,
So he
okay,
wasn't expecting
okay,
that.
right. Because I'm always saying, yes, I'm okay. Yes. When I'm, when you're not. And that's the other thing too. We have to stop saying we're fine. We have to stop saying, yes, okay. We have to stop saying, yep, I'm all right. Yes. When you're really not. And so when he asked that and I told him no, he froze. He really didn't know what to say or do. You know what I mean? And but that right there is another reason why we don't say yes. You know what I mean? We don't admit that we're not doing well, because when you say it to the person that you're saying it to, they don't know what to do. How could they help you? Right?
They don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do. So mental health is real. And I've been going to therapy for years. I use it as maintenance now, but when I needed it, and the other thing too, you have to find that right person that's for you, because not your first therapist is not always going to be the only one for you. Your first therapist may not, because I've met so many people that says, oh, I went to therapy, they didn't do nothing for me, this, that, and other, it didn't work, and they stop, right? And it's like, no, you have to find, it's like finding that great pair of shoes that fit you perfect, that are so comfortable, they cute and comfortable. A lot of times they're either cute or comfortable, right? So it's just like that. Or finding that hairdresser. I'm a hairdresser. So you gotta, finding that hairdresser is not easy to find either. You have to click with them. You have to, you know what I mean? You have to feel comfortable with them. You have to know what you want and be able to go to them and get what you want, right? So that's just like with a therapist. When you're going and you're looking for therapy or whatever, your first person is not going to be usually is not the person that you click with. It's not the person that may be the best for you, the best fit, right? And you got to keep going, because when people feel it doesn't work on the first or the second visit, then they stop. And then it gets worse because they're not being dealt with. You know what I'm saying? They're not dealing with the situation or the issue. And yes, talking to your girlfriends, yes, it gets off your chest and everything like that, but that's not the same. You have to find that therapist that can give you tools to work through it. Because when you're sitting every week or every other week, how often you go to your therapist, there's how many days in between? It's 6 other days. If you're only going to them one day, you have 6 other days to deal with it, right? When you're in that office or having that conversation with that therapist, that's when you ask that person, what kind of tool can I use in between our visits? Do you have some type of tool that I can use in between our visits? What do I do if I'm still having this anxiety attack or things like that? And medication's not always gonna help. Medication suppresses it, and it's not that it's not good for people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything yay or nay about it. All I'm saying is, for me, I don't think medication is helpful when it comes to mental health, because what happens is you become dependent on it. I know a few people that were on 3 or 4 different psych medications,
Mm-hmm.
and they still have issues.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
they
like
give
you said, you're not dealing with the issue. You're not dealing with the issue at hand.
right. And
So
then we
how
have to
does
understand.
medication help?
Right. And then the other thing, medication keeps you a zombie. It keeps you from feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that happens too is, what if, you know, you that therapist doesn't go into your past? So meaning, a lot of the reasons we are who we are is from a kid. How did we grow up? Right?
Yep.
And they say some kids can remember as far back as the womb.
Wow.
And some people, you know, and they say every 7 years, something major happens in your life, whether good or bad, but it affects you in a way where it molds your personality, or molds who you are, and molds how you do things. Right. I just remember as a kid, I knew early on that I needed to make my own money.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that early on. And that was because whenever I asked for certain things or anything, you know, not knowing that you poor, we just growing, we just working, we just doing,
grew up.
you know
right.
what I'm saying? We just grew up. And every time I asked, it was always a no. Not always, I shouldn't say always, but majority, it was a no, right?
Enough times
where it made me say to myself, okay, I have to make my own money. I think I was 7 or 8 years old, you know, and there's no entrepreneurs in my family. So I don't even know where I know that's where it came from. But
that's where it came from.
Yeah. And all the anxieties you have about relationships, or insecurities you have about yourself, or, you know, the way you deal. Yeah. And people don't understand we have to go back to our 5-year-old self, our 7-year-old self, our 10-year-old self, our 13-year-old self. You know what I mean? We have to go back to the very beginning and find out, okay, what did we do? And then we have to forgive ourselves. We don't forgive ourselves, right? No. We don't forgive ourselves.
Beat ourselves up.
Yep. We beat ourselves up. We beat other people up. We beat our mother and our fathers up, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be like this. And, you know, whatever trauma you've been through, everybody's been through trauma. The trauma doesn't always mean catastrophic. You know what I mean? Trauma to some people can be just as simple as, my father told me no. And that could be traumatic, right?
It could be. And that's true. That's true. But we don't know how to relate those things, like you said. One, in conversation how we're having, but 2 things I say. One, when I was growing up, if I would cry, my father would say, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Suck it up, don't cry." My grandmother too, his mom, tears. They didn't like to see tears. So I think I carried that. So that's why I put on such a tough exterior. I may not have cried in front of you. Doesn't mean I wasn't crying, but I wasn't letting nobody see me cry, because I was told all growing up, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
Right.
And another thing you said that I thought was funny, my dad growing up too, when my cousins used to come around and they would ask him for 50 cents or $1, quarter, you know, wasn't a lot of money. It was a lot of money to us as little kids, but he never had it to me. And I'll use the word never, even though he may have had it once, but I've heard I don't have it more often to them than he had it. So I think too, when it comes to, when I get that from my nieces and nephews, I try to be available, because that sticks in my head.
Right.
I'm not going to tell my nieces and nephews, no, my dad used to always say he didn't have it. You know what I mean? So I think that's where that comes from, you know, listening to you talk. Not that it's right, because it ain't right, because I don't have to.
It's not right or wrong. It's not even it's not a matter of right or wrong. Yeah. It's not a matter of right or wrong. It's just a matter of being able to identify, you know, and that's in that. And listen, I wouldn't have known any of this without therapy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because yes, to a certain extent, if someone says, you know, how come, like for instance, when it comes to men, right, dating, all of that, or man cheating or whatever. My whole thing from a kid, my father, wherever he laid his hat was his home, right? He was the best person in the world, was married to my mom the whole 9, but he did his thing. And I used to laugh at myself, because I noticed that he didn't come home when she chased him, when my mother would chase him. And so for me, I'm not chasing no man.
Right.
Either you gonna come home or you're not.
Right.
Because that's what I saw as a kid. You know, and I didn't want my kids seeing me doing
you do that. Right.
You know what I mean? So to the point where my first husband, when I just remember him saying to me one day, you didn't care what I did anyway. So it's like, what do you do? Right?
Yeah.
And I just, okay, if that's how you felt, I mean, because we have that tough exterior.
I was going to say that was his perception, because he probably was used to, and not speaking for him, I think people in general, if you don't pay attention to something, if you don't say anything, means I don't care.
Right. Either that, or somebody said to him, if you do this, you do that, she'll come around and then, she'll prove to you that, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
She ain't yelling. She ain't screaming. She ain't cussing.
She don't care.
She don't really care. That's not true.
And it's not true. It's not true.
Yeah.
So, but, therapy really, it was very helpful for me to identify these things, because they would ask you questions. How was your childhood? Or, different questions that trigger things that bring you back to that actual time. You know what I mean? To that actual time. And then I'm learning, I'm learning, it's called aroma freedom technique. I'm learning about that. And that is like a guided meditation. And even in that, it asks you questions and make you sit still and make you recant, or is that the word? Recant or revisit when you were 7, 10, 9, you know what I'm saying? When you were that age. And a lot of times you can really recall something vividly, like you were right there at that moment.
Right there. Yeah.
And
so you got to be honest though. One thing I'd say, if you're going to go into that journey, it's no sense of going and not being honest.
Right.
Because you're not going to get what you need out of it. You're not going to fool nobody but yourself when you walk out of there.
Exactly. You have to be honest with them.
Honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where therapy comes in again, and not your girlfriends, because you can really be raw, because yes, your girlfriends may know a whole lot about you, but we don't know every single thing about you, And if you go into, with a therapist that knows what they're doing, that really, really can bring out those things that you can deal with, and then forgive yourself for those things that are hindering you, keeping you from thriving or whatever. And it's a everyday journey. It is not something that you do today and don't do it for years again or whatever. It is that's why I say I use it as maintenance. You know what I mean? Because just like detoxing your body, you got to use it as maintenance, right? Things like that, and that keeps you kind of focused, and it keeps you balanced, for lack of a better phrase.
Yes.
It keeps you kind of balanced, and balance doesn't mean 50-50. Balance just means, today these things are not bothering me. I'm not.
You're not going to let them rack your brain or take you out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? I think we are our own worst enemy at times. And you try to remember, if I can't fix it, if there's nothing I can change about it, try not to stress. We tell ourselves that, but we don't always do it. At the end of the day.
Right.
We don't always do it.
So the biggest takeaway from this piece for me is know that mental health is real. Definitely. And that there is help out there for those that that feel that it's cliche, or feel that their family frowns upon it or whatever. You can go in privacy. Nobody knows. Nobody has to know that you're going. Nobody has to know that you're going, that you're seeking it out or whatever. But I found that when you are honest with yourself and honest with looking and seeking, you will find the right person, because somebody in your circle goes. You know what I'm saying? And they may have someone that they like. Yes. So you can
there's another connection there.
Absolutely.
That keeps you connected to your sisterhood, to your manhood, whatever, that group of people, it keeps you connected. Because sometimes you look at people and you don't know. 10 years later, you're having a conversation and you're like, what? You two? Yeah, but we never talked about it.
Never talked
Why
about it.
not? What are we
Mm-hmm.
afraid to talk about? What
Mm-hmm.
are we afraid? Um, when it comes to mental illness too, and this may sound crazy, but I don't want to argue and I don't want to fuss and I don't want to fight anymore. I'm not gonna tell you I ain't gonna have no disagreements. That I am going to have. But if I can diffuse it, and you take it any way you want to, you're being weak and you're being this. Over the last few years, I've learned and I've grown so much that I don't want to argue and I don't want to fight with you. You gonna do and say whatever. Let me just step away from you for a minute. And that's family, friends, whoever it may be. I remember saying that to a family member. I don't want to argue, I don't want to fight. I just want things to just flow. And they looked at me and said, you and everybody else. And I'm thinking, that's what I'm talking about. Your attitude ain't even right about the situation, but I don't even want to talk to you about it anymore. What do you mean, me and everybody else? First of all, I'm talking about me. Let's keep it right here with Tracy. We're not talking about the rest of the world. And everybody is going through something because of, the last few years and the
Right.
economy and COVID and this and that, jobs, whatever it may be. But I'm talking about me, and it was getting to be me and this person getting to be in a conversation where I didn't want it to go. And I was trying to shut it down. And it was like, you're being rah. And I don't want it. I'm trying to practice that as best I can, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect and I am a work in progress. Definitely.
Let me tell you, we use that analogy of perfection, right? Everybody wants to be perfect in whatever it is that they do, but perfect is an illusion. Perfection is an illusion, and we're not striving for perfection. We're striving for progression. You know what I mean? And if you're making progress within your life and whatever it is that you want to make progress in, because we are control of our own selves. The only person you can control is you. You cannot control anybody else. You can control you. One thing about communication, learning communication, self-development, and things like that is key also. That helps a person to evolve. That helps a person to get to a better place within themselves and things like that. Argue, fuss, and fight. Yeah, no, that wastes way too much energy. Would you rather waste your energy fussing and fighting or loving and hugging?
Exactly.
It's
two totally different. My head is hurting if I'm arguing and fussing with you. You know what I mean? If I gotta scream and yell, I am getting ready to go somewhere else mentally. And we just don't want to do that to ourselves.
Not at all.
Like you said, we 50 and fabulous. And I want to stay 50 and fabulous.
Right.
I don't want to be at the hospital or the emergency room saying my head hurt or my heart hurt because I'm having a heart attack or you have an aneurysm or something because you're getting so excited and stressed out. And stress is a killer.
Stress
we do have to be careful.
The number one killer. Yes, it is one of the number. It's at the top. Stress is really the biggest culprit for disease, heart attacks, mental breakdowns, all of that.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This conversation was so great. So great. I am so happy that that you came on today.
We did this.
Yes, that we.
I know you thought I was gonna cancel too. I said, I know she said, "Oh, send your reminders, sister." I got it on the calendar already. Yes. I'm ready. I was ready.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we did this too. Yeah.
Yes, I am so happy.
I did.
And we will have a part 2. We'll have a couple of different topics coming up. Look out for better half of you. Over 50, being over 50 and as the better half of you. I'm gonna play around with that because I like that title.
Okay.
I like that title.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And then as being Black women, we are just so fierce. And for all the women that are listening, even the men, men and women, but all the women that are listening, you are fierce. Know that you are fierce and know that you are fabulous. Whether you're Black or not, but we are sisters on here and sisters are sisters, so go be fabulous and be the better half of you over 50. And that is it. Thank you, Tracy. I love you. I'm so happy we had this conversation, and I hope that this encourages whoever's listening into, really being the best person that they can be for them. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this is Back to Earth. And if you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live?